If you're an online business owner, you probably already know that Reddit is a goldmine for growth, but most brands blow it by spamming links and getting roasted. The real problem is that manually scanning endless conversations to find the right threads takes hours every single day. What if you could automatically drop replies that sound thoughtful, helpful, and perfectly timed by subtly plugging your brand? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a fully automated system that hunts down the right conversation for you, generates human-sounding replies, and flips in brand mentions without coming off like an ad. By the end, you'll have an automation running 24/7 to put your brand right in front of the audience without wasting hours or digging through Reddit. Okay, let's jump in and show you how it all works. Okay, so we've landed at gumloop.com, which is the super powerful automation tool that we're going to be using today to build this Reddit marketing tool. If you haven't used Gumloop before, it's a super powerful app that can connect to all of your external apps through MCP servers and so much more. So if we're taking a look here, we can see that you can connect with TikTok, Instagram, Stripe, Beehive, Loops, Fellow, Gamma, Adspaper, Pipedrive. These are all MCP servers, and they also have bunch of just regular connectors that you can use as well, like ClickUp, Ghost, Hacker News, WordPress, Supabase, RSS, Mailgun, and so much more. You can scrape websites, you can add AI in between each of your nodes. So there's just a ton that you can do. We're going to demo a lot of that today, including MCP servers and web scraping, as well as some third-party connectors. They also have a tool called Gummy, which is an agent that helps you build entire flows or improve your flows or add to your flows or add nodes. And we'll show you how that works, which is a super powerful tool if you get stuck, if you need help, or if you even want it to build your full automation for you. So what I have here is a canvas, and I've already added a bunch of nodes into the canvas that we're going to be needing to build this automation to save time for the video. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through each step how this all works. So basically every flow starts with some sort of input. The input could be as simple as this. There's also interfaces that you can add designs and images and things like that. So if you're building an automation that you're sharing with your team or external stakeholders, you might want to use the interface to jazz it up a little bit. But we're just going to start with the regular input here. And what we want to have happen is we can enter a URL, and then from that URL, the flow is going to handle everything. It's going to scrape the website, understand what kind of product or service it is, and then it's going to go out to Reddit. Based on that, find relevant subreddits and keywords, and find relevant conversations where we can mention our brand in the replies. This would usually take a ton of time to do. You'd have to go out, you'd have to subscribe to different Reddits, you'd have to read them all, you'd have to figure out which conversations are relevant, and so much more. So we're going to automate all of this, and it's going to save you tons of time. So for this example, our input basically has our input name, which is company URL, and then our default value. So we're going to use gumloop.com for this example, but you could put any website that you want into this default value. If you're running this for different brands, you can simply change the website here. So once you have the input in, the first thing that we're going to want to do is connect it to the next node. And for this flow that we're building today, what we want to do is we want to actually scrape the website gumloop.com so that our flow and our agents and our AI can understand everything about it. So once you've connected the nodes together, if you click into the URL here, what this can do is it can dynamically get the URL from the first step. If you've used an automation tool before, this is going to seem super familiar. You can use advanced scraping, which uses proxies and things like that to get around anti-scraping bots, which works really well. So we're going to turn that on, and we're just going to move on to the next step. So the first step here, we're just taking a website, and then we're scraping everything from that website. This is where it starts to get really powerful. They have nodes called Ask AI. And in these nodes, you can basically prompt it to do whatever you want. And what's super, super cool is you can actually choose all kinds of different models, and they have all the popular models here. So, GPT-4, 5, what we have here is Perplexity, Sonar, Deep Research, because we want this to actually do a bunch of research on this website. So we're going to use the Deep Research AI. And what we're doing here, I'm not going to read through all this, but we're analyzing the company website, and we're going to identify relevant subreddits, and keywords and topics that represent the company's core business, products, and services. And then we have an output format. The subreddits should be comma separated, the keywords should be comma separated, and we're going to further define that in the next step. So what we need to do is we need to connect our scraper right here to the Ask AI step. And we need to give it some context. So what we're going to do here is where it says company content, I'm just going to delete this out and I'm going to put the website content in here, which is all of the content from the scraped website in the first step. Okay, so let's move on. Now, what we need to do now that we have our scraped content and we are asking AI to develop relevant keywords and topics, we're going to take it a step further and we're going to use AI to extract only the subreddits and the keywords in a comma separated list. So let's do that. So what you can actually do here is almost split this and we can connect this output to both nodes. So what we can do in here is where the analysis is, we're just going to put in the response from this node. And then over here, we're going to use that same response. So what's happening is from this response, we're going to ask AI to take it a step further, and we're going to get only the subreddits and only the keywords from the previous step. Okay, so super, super cool. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to Reddit. So we have all the information that we need. We have our subreddit list and we have our keyword list. Okay, so just like before, what we need to actually do here is connect both of these to this Reddit keyword post search. Now, this is actually an MCP server node for Reddit. And I'll show you a little bit what that means. We actually used Gummy to write some of the code that helps with this MCP search, and it worked wonderfully. What I'm going to do here is connect these inputs as well. So what we're going to do is choose the subreddits, and what we can do here is just select the response right here, and then we can say this one. And then for the keywords, we're just going to choose Ask AI keywords. So we have these two Ask AIs. One is for the keywords and one is just for the subreddits. I could actually rename this if I wanted to subreddits to make it a little bit more clear, but I knew this one was keywords because it was called Ask AI keywords. Now, I want to show you something. Again, we used Gummy, which is their agent, which I'm going to show you at the end of this video to generate the code for this MCP server. We just prompted it, but if you click into edit here, we can click continue. We can see here that there's actually code. There's 90 lines of code. This was completely written by AI. It's Python code. I don't even fully understand it, but if you paste this code into ChatGPT, or you can ask Gummy to explain it, it'll give you an explanation of the code. All that matters is it really works. So we're gonna go ahead and exit out of that. I just wanted to show you that there was code here that allowed this MCP server to search for these relevant things on Reddit. Because the code is handling some of this, we don't need to choose the sort by or the time filter. You can add these selectors if you want, or you can add it in the code. Okay, so again, we've got our keywords, we've got our subreddits, and now we're doing a comprehensive Reddit search based on these subreddits and these keywords. And then remember, this is all happening from a single URL, which is super, super cool. So now a couple little text here, and this is what's really cool about Gumloop is you can manipulate text, you can make lists, you can combine text, and so much more. So let's go ahead and connect this. And what we're going to basically be doing is we're going to be combining the text from our Reddit MCP search in this node here. So we just need to take the post titles list. We need to take the post URL list. We need to take the subreddit names list, r/subreddit names. And then we need to take the post content list. It gets some other information like the authors list and the post scores list from the server, but we're actually not going to be using any of that. So we can just ignore those. Now, because these are lists of data, we need to make sure that we're looping over these lists. And Gumloop has in these nodes a nice switch. You can turn on loop and it'll loop through these different lists. Okay, so now what we have, since we have all of these different lists combined, we just need to join them all. And again, this is a list operation node. So all these sort of like transactional nodes that Gumloop has makes it super easy to manipulate your data. So what we'll do here is we'll connect this here. And then what we just need to do is we need to add our input, and we can just use the combined text list from the previous step. So as we scroll up here, we can see everything is starting to connect, and this is starting to look really, really good. So we're going to move on to our next step here. And this is really the super important step for this marketing flow. What we're going to do is we're going to actually connect this to another Ask AI node. And here's what we're going to say, and I'm going to read some of this so you can understand what we're doing. You are generating authentic Reddit replies that subtly promote the company from the website analysis. Using the company information below, analyze each Reddit post and create natural, helpful replies that showcase the company's expertise and subtly promote the solution. And then we have some other things here. Reply guidelines. Always promote the company from the website analysis. Never mention competing tools. Be subtly promotional. Position the company as helpful solution to their problem. Use some misspelling and lowercase, even when not typically done, to seem human. Never use exact verbiage from company research. This sounds too robotic. Use human words sparingly, like literal, LOL, IMO, IMHO. Don't hyperlink. Just mention the company name. This is important. We don't want to actually hyperlink. A lot of times you can't in Reddit replies. What we want to do is just mention our brand, and then users will search for our brand based on that mention. You could hyperlink if you want. We've chosen not to do so here. And then we want to output clean plain text only, no markdown, no asterisks, no formatting, no symbols, no bold, just clean readable text for spreadsheets. Separate each post analysis with a delimiter. Okay, so again, the more detailed you can be in your prompts here when you're asking AI, the better. You can even use Gummy. Gummy's down here, by the way. So if you ever need to use Gummy, you can actually have Gummy write your prompts, which is really, really helpful. I would highly recommend that. We've done that here in some instances. So let's go up here, and I just need to connect a couple things here. So the company to promote, and then the Reddit post to analyze. So we've already connected this join list to the Reddit's post to analyze. So I can actually just put the join text here, but we need to tell it which company to promote. Now, what we can actually do is we can come up here, and we need to connect the website scraper all the way down here to this Ask AI node. Okay, now that this is connected, and that's what's super cool is you can actually connect nodes way up earlier in the flow all the way down to nodes way further in the flow and get information from that in this nice visual way. So company to promote, and what we can do is we can just take the website content here and place that into this, and that should be all that we need. Okay, so now that we have this all set up, and again, I just want to mention that you can choose your model for each one of these Ask AI nodes, which is super critical, right? Because different steps require different types of AI thinking. You know, some of them might be code steps, so you need a different model for that. If you're looking for a writing step, you might want to use a different model for that. All kinds of different things. So you can tinker with different models depending on what your workflow is. Okay, and then there's a couple little final steps here. But basically we have our flow complete. We have everything connected, everything's working, and now we just need to determine how we're going to use this data. So there's lots of things that you could do. You could set up an email to send you a daily email with all of this information and connect it right through Gmail. You could send it to a spreadsheet, which is what we're going to do here today. You could send it to a Slack channel, or really the sky is the limit as to terms of what you can do. You can access it via webhook and build it into an internal application for your team. There's really so much that you can do. What we're going to do here today is we're actually going to connect it to Google Sheets so we can get all this data in a Google Sheet. It's a great place where, you know, multiple members of the team can see it, and it's easily accessible by everyone without having to give them access to this node. So what we're going to do here is we're going to connect this to a data parser. And again, this is a node that's a custom node, data parser node, and we're using custom Python code here. Again, that was generated by Gummy. I will link to this code in the show notes, but you know, just know that you can write custom code to parse data from a previous step. That's all that you really need to know here. For the input here, we're just going to use the response from the Ask AI step, just like this. So we're taking this response here, which was generating authentic Reddit replies, and we're going to parse this data here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect the parsed data to our Google Sheets writer. And I've signed in with my Google Sheets here already off camera, but all that we need to do in our Google Sheet is connect the different column headings to this different data that was parsed here by this custom node. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my Google Sheet here so you can see what it looks like. Okay, here it is. So it's a super simple sheet. It basically has 3 columns: post title, post link, and reply, I just named the sheet Gummy. So if we come back here, we can see that I've pasted the link to the sheet in here. I've added the columns, post title, post link, and reply. Now, since I've connected Google Sheets, it can actually see these columns, and it was really easy just to add them. And then all I need to do is I need to connect these just like we did in the previous step. So for post title, I need post content. For the post link, I need a Reddit link. And then for the reply, I need to reply array list. Now, the reason we had to parse this is because in this step, we have a ton of information. We have the post content that was on Reddit. We have the links. We have the AI replies that are being generated. And it's all just sort of jumbled together. So this parser actually separates it and parses it and puts it into a format that's going to look good in our Google Sheet. So that's the whole flow here. It's a bunch of different steps that are all linked together, but in the end, we're taking a simple website URL like gumloop.com. We're going to search everything that we need to know about it and then find relevant conversations on Reddit and generate replies so we can plug Gumloop on Reddit naturally. This is a marketer's dream. It's going to save a ton of time. And what we're going to do now here is we're going to save our automation. We're going to run it and see how it all works. Okay, so I'm back up to the top of my flow. I'm just confirming that the default value, we have gumloop.com. Keep in mind, you can change this for any brand or website. Even if you wanted to do your competitors, you could put in any website here. I'm just gonna go ahead and hit save and make sure everything's saved. Everything looks good. It's all connected. Let's go ahead and run this flow. Now, this is a bit longer of a flow that's using some deep research nodes, so it could take a little bit of time, probably about 60 to 90 seconds for this flow. More simple flows are obviously much faster. It really depends on what kind of research you're doing. You know, we're doing MCP searches, we're doing scraping, we're doing deep research with AI, so it's a little bit longer, but it really just depends on exactly what you're doing. So we're gonna let this run, and then we'll head over to our Google Sheet and see what we get. Okay, so this finished running, and what's really cool over here in the right panel is we can actually see the current run in any other previous runs of this flow, but it went through each step sequentially and gave us some results. So if we head over to our Google Sheet, we can now see that all of our data is here, and this is super, super cool. So we've got all of these different post titles, and these seem really accurate at first glance. They may not all be perfect, but check this out. New to AI and automation, can someone suggest a tool for managing my business? Perfect. This would be a great place to plug Gumloop. To take it a step further, we actually have the full AI reply here, which sounds very human-like. Honestly, sounds like you need something that can handle multiple workflows without getting too complicated. I've been using Gumloop for similar stuff, blah, 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 blah. It has a drag and drop interface. You don't need to be technical. It handles Gmail, calendars, CRM updates, and even my data entry automation. So this is a really good reply. And looking at all these posts, these seem all very, very on point. This would take a ton of time for us to manually research, and it did it all for us and even gave us the replies. We can just click any of these links, copy and paste our reply, and plug it right into Reddit. This can, again, help with brand awareness, help with conversions, and so much more. You can even boost your Reddit karma by doing this as well. So this is super, super cool. Now, I want to show you one other thing, because in the making of this automation, we use Gummy for some of the code. And really, this wouldn't have been possible without using Gummy, because I can't write code. I'm not technical. So, making the MCP server call and the parser with Python would have been really, really hard for me to do. But Gummy took care of all of it. But you not only can write code with Gummy, you can actually add custom nodes to your flow. And Gummy has access to your flow, so it knows exactly what's going on. So let's go ahead and check it out real quick. So we can go to Ask Gummy for help, and it opens up this left panel. Hi, I'm Gummy. How can I help you? Tell me about your data, and I'll help you build it. What we can say is, because we're already within an existing flow, is we can say we would like to add a step. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a step at the end that sends us an email, for say. Add a step at the end that sends us an email with the results. Okay, let's just give this a try. I haven't tried this, so let's see what happens. I also have a step here at the end that does a output. So if I wanted to access this via API, I could as well. You can do that by accessing the webhooks here for both the input and the output nodes. Okay, so here we go. Look at this. Gummy is saying now add an email step at the end of your flow to send you the result. Let me add a Gmail Center node that will connect your Reddit post links and AI generated replies. And it's going to build all of this for us. It's actually added the Gmail node up here. And then what it's going to do is it's going to link it all for us, and then we can just connect the data. It can actually connect the data for us, but we need to authenticate with Gmail so it knows which Gmail account to send from. Okay, so check this out. It actually connected it for us. As you can see, it connected the AI node to the Gmail node. And let's zoom in here. Sorry for all the scrolling. It put it at the bottom. There we go. So it actually put in the body and the linked data, the subject and everything. The only thing that we need to do is authenticate Gmail, and this will work. If we save our flow, run it again, we will get all the data in the spreadsheet, and we will also get an email. So you can send an email to your team, to yourself. You could do this in Slack. There's so many different possibilities. And Gummy, the AI agent here within Gumloop, built this completely for us. We didn't have to lift a finger. All we have to do is hit this button and authenticate Gmail, and we'll be good to go. So to recap, we built this super powerful marketing tool. I hope this gives you inspiration for things that you could do with Gumloop in just about 20 minutes. Again, I will provide a link to this flow in the show notes so that you can see exactly how we did this and copy this if you want. It's free for you to use. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any other videos like this one.